4th, 2024, 4 p.m. Go over our roll here. So we have one missing, which would be the chairman, Dennis Hunt. Everybody else is accounted for. So I'm gonna start the meeting off by, have a motion from somebody to approve the agenda, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Have a motion by Tim Brown to approve the agenda.
Second.
Second by Frank Watkins. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, moving on down the list, we have public comments. Anybody in the public want to come up and speak? Now's your time. Nobody has anything to say, so move right along. So we'll need a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Tim Brown to approve, seconded by Frank Watkins. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Moving on, unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business that anyone can recall? I don't think so, so.
Unless we want to, are we going to take part of the health department under unfinished business?
Yeah, we can do that. You wanna bring that up? I know you wanna speak about the subcommittee that went.
Yeah, so we can just, the subcommittee would be, needs to look at the three, no, I've already got them, so those are the three quotes that we received for the, parking lot at the health department in Tullahoma to do the work to basically expand the parking lot. Those are the three quotes.
Is that the quote? Or is it on the back, second sheet? Oh, up there.
That's the total
Okay.
of that one.
Yeah, I'll read these off, so if anybody's watching, or we have a bid from Zachary Hallwell's Lawn. He has a standing bid of $47,000. We have a bid from Elk River Excavation, there's a standing bid of $33,952. And we have a bid from Barton Construction out of McMinnville for $64,800. So that's the three bids we've received, so. We had talked earlier, Tim, about on the subcommittee approving this, and we thought that the low bid would probably take that. Are you in agreement with that?
I agree with it. That's $14,000 savings.
Okay. So that being said, I guess, Tim, we need a motion from you on this subcommittee to approve. I guess that would be Elk River Excavation.
I'll make a motion to take Elk River Excavation's bid of $33,000.
And I'll second that motion. So, I guess we're both of us is in favor of that, so we'll send that to our standing committee here for a vote on that, so.
Yeah, we would just need a vote from this committee to send it to Budget and Finance to approve the money to
Correct.
complete the project.
So I'd take a motion from this committee.
I'll make a motion to go with the Elk River one.
We have a motion by Tina Reed.
Second.
Second by Frank Watkins. All in favor? The ayes have it. Be sending this to Budget and Finance. Okay. So, any more unfinished business?
I just have one, if there's for some reason that the Elk River doesn't, take the bid, we need to have a backup.
That is correct, and that would be Harwell Lawn.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody in favor of that? Have a motion to move towards that?
I'm in agreement.
Okay, got a motion by Frank,
I'll second it.
second by Tina. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay. All right. One other thing on unfinished business, did you get to check on the lights?
I
the
did.
lighting?
I did go there and I checked on it. I haven't been able to find anything equal to their lights that they have in, and they also have like a control panel and stuff that controls theirs. And their maintenance people were unavailable to go over all that.
Okay.
But so basically, what I'll do is I have like just a general idea of what they've done, and I'll look into what it would take and what it would cost
Okay.
to do our own version of what they have, and then I'll try to have that together, hopefully by the next meeting, and we can look at that.
Yeah, that'll give you pretty much a whole month to get that done.
Yeah, it's basically all we're looking for now is, and I don't know how long it's been since they did theirs, but basically looking for, and theirs building is much bigger, so we'll basically just be looking at trying to see what we need to do what we're looking for and the cost of.
When you went down there to
lighting.
look at that, was that on both sides of the courthouse?
It's actually on all four sides.
All four sides. So our courthouse just has an entrance on the north side and the south side. We're just gonna be looking at two, right?
I mean, what I'll be doing is I'll be getting a cost per light, and I'll tell you about how many lights we would need to do each side. And if you guys decided that you wanted all four sides, that's something we could look at. Or if you just want to do two sides where the doors are, I mean, we could look at that. We'll just.
Okay. Was all that put underground? I mean,
It's all
that-
underground, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and for theirs, it runs to a control panel where they can change the colors of the lights and stuff. And I'm gonna say, like, now you could probably control it all like from an app on your phone. So it might be something a little simpler. It might just be we need to just power up each individual light and however many we want to have, and there'll be some issues as far as that one side where what's all concrete. We might have to find a way to get under the concrete to the other side to shine the lights up on it, but we'll figure all that out.
I'd also like to bring up, I don't know if you've been up around the courthouse, the Historical Society really fixed it up good this year. It looked good with the Christmas lights. Did y'all get to see that? They look good, so you did a good job. Okay. Moving on to new business presentation by Brandon Gunn. So I think Mr. Gunn's not here, so Alan, are you gonna be doing that presentation, or? Okay. Mind come up and have a seat? Yes, sir. Get you a mic and make sure it's turned on.
All right, so I brought a presentation. I think all you guys have a copy of it. And Brandon put this together, so, but I'm gonna do my best to explain basically what we're talking about here. So we wanted to revisit some type of structure to cover our trailers. Now, since we've last met about this, we now have a fort trailer, and if you guys hadn't had a chance to see that thing up, it's pretty impressive. It's a 20 by 20 structure that's on a trailer that actually folds out and makes a 20 by 20 building. That is a health department asset. It's worth about $250,000. So, and the requirement is that it needs to be undercover. So, not to mention the other things that we have that we talked about previously. So those first things are quotes that we've just gotten in the past. But what I'd like to focus on is back on the equipment sections. Just some of the photos from our equipment being sitting outside. We've got, and I know these are black and white photos, but I mean, you can tell that there's rust, there's corrosion on the antenna connections on that first tab. We've had some separation on the window of the command post due to the heat and things like that. And the second page behind the photos will explain basically what we found to be wrong with it due to them sitting out in the weather. So the next one is our logistics trailer, the white trailer that is showing some major damage due to water damage and things like that of it being sitting out. And you can see that it's highlighted what the trailers are worth. Utility trailers are really not a major concern. the roadway message board trailer. I'm sure you guys have seen these. TDOT has a ton of them that they use. This is a health department asset as well, but it's been given to us to use at our discretion anytime we need it here in the county. It's a programmable message board, and it's a $18,000 value on that. And it's currently sitting outside as well. So the hazmat trailer was bought in 18. We've, you know, we try to take care of our equipment as best we can, but with it being outside, it's showing a little wear and tear. Another thing about the hazmat trailer is because we have hazmat suits in there, they're required to be climate controlled. And in the summertime, and I think there's probably some pictures on back here, I won't bore you with the details, but basically in the summertime, that trailer can get upwards of 120, 130 degrees. The suit, basically our suits are supposed to be kept within a range of 40 to 90 degrees, within that range. If they're not kept within 40 to 90 degrees, then, you know, there stands a chance of it being, the suit breaking down and it injuring somebody because of a suit breakdown.
Is there any visual damage to them? Can you see where the suits, but being that high temperature, if it's damaged them or not?
We test them annually, or we either test them annually or after they've been used each time, mainly to see, and the only way you can test them is you literally have to, and you know you've done this, you've helped with this, but we have a machine that you blow them up to a certain pressure, and they have to hold that pressure because they're completely sealed suits. So any degradation of that suit, you know, is gonna affect it. And there is a picture of that Fort trailer there, if you guys want to see it set up. I forgot, we took some drone footage of that while it was set up out here in the parking lot. So basically, it sits on a trailer that has toolboxes lined down both sides, and the building itself sits between those toolboxes. You take it off that trailer and can set it up. And I don't know if we've got some interior pictures of it or not, but it's a really nice asset. And behind that is a letter from the Department of Health. We were lucky enough they bought 2 for the South Central region, which is 13 counties, and we were lucky enough to have one designated for our area because we're the easternmost county in our health department region. The other one is in Murray County, and they already have theirs under cover. The old shed that we're currently using to house our side-by-sides and four-wheelers and things, and Frank can probably attest to this. I don't know exactly when that thing was built, but she's got a little bit of a lean to her now, and there's a lot of damage to that, and it's, you know, if I was an inspector, I'd probably condemn it, but, you know, we gotta use what we gotta use. So what I wanna come to you tonight about is we pitched 2 different options, I think, at the last meeting that we came to. One of them was to basically put a 12-foot wide by 12-foot high door in the annex that's currently unoccupied. And I think that was out, the bids up there, I think, it's around $50,000 to do that, to put an insulated door. It's already heated and cooled, so it could be climate controlled. The other option we have is to build a standalone building, and up front, the quotes for a standalone building, fully enclosed with garage doors, and it wouldn't be as large as the annex. And it's from Summertown Meadows, I believe, is that right, Joey? Yeah, so it's like 4 pages back. Just the building alone, is, $58,521. That's with 3, garage doors. It's a 50 by 60 building.
That's with nothing else done to it, just.
Nothing else done to it. The very front is what it would take to do the leveling of the ground, which, you know, you have to excavate the ground. Obviously, the shed has to be torn down. It's on a concrete pad. It would have to go. So we had somebody come out and look and just give us a rough estimate. That's $16,500 just for that. Now, that doesn't include heating and air or anything on that particular building. That's just the metal frame. That's not insulated. The only thing that would be insulated is the doors. I think, we got a price, and it's not in here, but I think, somewhere around $10,000 is what it would take to do the spray and insulation, on the inside of the building. We wanted to bring this. The temps, by the way, are, if you wanna look at what the temps, for our suits are, they should be back there in the very back. There's some photos, of the insides of the trailers.
So you're over
The
this,
one is 120.6 degrees.
just your building, your doors for this outside building, you're over $100,000 now on that, right?
Right,
You're at 101,521.
right, right. And these estimates, as you can tell, these were done in April of last year. So, we'll get the same price if we re-quote it, you know.
I know the one thing, when I went down there and looked, the kind of the thing that stood out to me, if you put this building out there in that parking lot, I mean,
Yeah.
there's not that much room out there, Frank, right? I mean, there's, I mean, do we want to put a building out
Well,
in this
the-
little parking lot, you know?
Not to interrupt, but the only way I see that even being an option to put a building in that parking lot is to do a 6-bay and put a tile on the back side on Ramsey Street and have pull through, because the Fort trailer alone is 28 feet long. So you take a 28 feet long trailer and a truck, and you're trying to back it in. If you've got that size building in there, you don't have a lot of room to maneuver that. And-
Plus y'all you're delivering prisoners up there, right, going into court, you gotta have room to turn around. I
Yeah.
don't see that a building out there, to me, doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, obviously, the cheapest option is to put a door. Now, the one thing that I haven't talked about that's in this presentation is the morgue. We already have a morgue that's inside the annex. That's it's a 12-bed morgue that we use, for the ME's office. And, so it's already in the building and mounted to the floor, in what I think was the dress out room or the changing room.
Yeah, it was the dress out room back
Yeah.
then. That was
Yeah.
where when inmates come in, they dressed out into their
Yeah.
regular clothes and out of
And
their work
it's,
clothes.
it's like it's a 12 by 12 or something like that. It's a pretty good size. It'll hold 12, people. So, you know, I obviously, either option is fine with me, but I like to save the county money, and by doing the door option, I still think that's the best option and the cheapest option for us to do. It won't affect prisoner transport. It won't affect, on Wednesdays, they also have, I guess the state inmates come in on Wednesdays. And usually there's 1 or 2 of those vans that have to park inside that fenced-in area. So, you know, we put a building out there, that's gonna limit space for sure.
Yeah, and really by city codes, I mean, we don't even know if we can do it or not.
Right.
We're just,
Well, if you get some standoffs, you know, on your property lines and stuff. That part I'm gonna defer to somebody that knows more about that than me.
Well, it'd have to be approved by the city, but, I mean, if you're talking about adding 3 more doors, that's another $30,000 minimum if they're insulated, because each insulated door costs about $10,000, and that's not even including the motor. That's just for the door and the hardware. So if you add 3 more doors to that building, you're looking at another $30,000.
Well, over in the parking lot, you've got all those connections over there, right there in that corner of the fence. You've still got over in
Yeah,
that.
so that building, and we took into consideration those, I think all the
Yeah,
water
it's
lines.
water,
comes
sewer,
in, the
all
water
that over there,
mains.
over in that
So we
corner.
took into consideration the building.
So you're gonna have to
wouldn't
stand
be
off
able
that
to-
from the fence.
The last time we looked at it, we went out there and we measured everything, and I can't remember exactly if we
It's
figured
a
out.
40 by 60, I believe.
40 by 60. I mean, you could fit it in
40,
there, but
but
like you're
that's gonna
saying,
be
as long as the trailers go and stuff, I mean, you might spend an hour trying to maneuver a trailer in one of them doors if you just had
My
doors on
guys are
one
good,
side.
but
And there's gonna be no fudging on that fence out front because it's, I mean, that's, you know, if you notice on court day, you can't
Yeah,
even,
there's
you
no-
can't even move out there.
Yeah.
no. Right now you got people parking in the grass and down the ditch line.
Against the fence, and like you said, down the ditch line.
You know, so, I mean, it's up to this committee, obviously, but, in my opinion, the best option is to do the door. And then, at a later date, if the sheriff's department needs, more space for, trustees or an annex, then we revisit that and get them something closer, to their facility, because, I think the sheriff, moved the inmates out of there to save quite a bit of money per year, just by moving the inmates back to the jail and not having to transport back and forth and transport your food and the medical, and plus you got staff at different locations and things like that. And,
You know,
I mean, he
we
could speak
we
to
all
that,
went
or
out
Frank
there.
could speak to that, but
Yeah, we all went out there and looked at this. Tim, you wanna weigh in on this, on your opinion on this? The building versus the door?
Well, we've drug this out for, I don't know how long, 6 months. We need to get off our hind end and do something. So I'd like to see the door. I'll make a motion, if it's time to make a motion, that we put the door in.
What was the total cost on the door?
I don't have that in front of me, but
it was around 56.
it was around 50. I think
50
was
something.
yeah. And,
And-
like you said, it was a year ago, so we would have to rebid it again. We would
And
get
that-
three estimates, and
And I think that would, I don't know how close I have to be to this mic, I'm sorry. And that was basically turnkey. That was taking out, part of the sidewalk and building the ramp so that the ramp would come up and you could move the trailers into the building and things like that. And the ramp, we looked at the ramp, and with the slope, it's still not gonna affect the Sally Port where they're bringing inmates in and out, you know, where they won't have to go over a hump to get into the Sally Port.
I know the last time we talked about this, we talked about if there was a door put in there, it might, you know, it might interfere with the structure integrity of the building. But and I think Joey here, or Scott, I mean, if you got any comment on that as far as putting a door in, if it would weaken the building, or where it couldn't be used for, come back, I mean.
Every case is different, you just need to look at it, see what kind of header needs to go in structurally to keep it sound.
All right.
You know, it's done frequently, you
Right.
just have to do it.
I do
It's
know
something
that
can
it's
be overcome.
basically an iron structure, just like a metal building would be, with a brick and block facade on it.
and that's kind of the reason it was the $50,000 price tag, was because
Cause it's a
is
reinforced
because it was
building.
they were gonna have to put in some, some additional support, because it's a brick building on the outside, and of course that has to be, added support for that. So all that was
'Cause it's
looked
just
at by
iron-
3 different contractors.
Just an iron building on the inside,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It was bid by 3 different contractors, and all 3 contractors, told us what would be needed to make it structurally sound and operable, and it just that was the lowest
And-
estimate that we received was
Alright.
was the one that we speak of.
There's one thing that I thought about today that we didn't put in this presentation, but I know, the Manchester ambulance station is due for a remodel. And if, you know, if we had a facility that they could back their ambulance in, the fluids on those ambulances have to be kept at a certain temperature as well, because you don't wanna give a patient cold fluids that's been sitting outside. So, you know, I mean, if you had a facility that we could back an ambulance in the case of the renovation, or if we had a fire like we had at South Station a couple of years ago, I mean, you would have a place to,
Yeah,
for them to be.
that's another thing I
Wait.
noticed when I was out there looking at it. There's a lot of space in there, but it's not, you can't access it but by just small doors.
Right.
If you had a bigger door, you could access space like for an ambulance. And, you know, like we've talked about before, this county eventually is gonna have to have a full-time fire department. You could probably, I don't know if you never measured, but you could probably back a fire engine in there.
Yeah, we looked at that, cause I know the county has looked or has been talking about things like that. So a 12 by 12 door will fit, pretty well any fire truck with the exception of like a tire work, type truck. You need a 16-foot door for that, but, just a standard engine would fit in a 12 by 12 opening.
So Frank, what about the mothball on that? Where are we at on the jail as far as?
It's still mothballed. It's still listed legally as being mothballed. It's not closed
How?
under TCI standards.
Okay. So at the jail, are we like close to the max?
We're running about, I didn't look today, but we're running about 370, give or take. So
And
that's
hotel
30,
room?
it's 30 away from capacity. We're a 400 bed facility.
We ain't never gonna reuse the old jail, cause you're gonna have to staff it and everything, we ain't gonna, but it's not gonna happen.
That's the thing, it's just, you know, how much money would it take to get it back up to par? That's the, you know, who knows how.
We need to get off our hind ends too and do something about the workhouse we talked about for the jail. Go ahead and get something built out there.
We gotta cross
I mean, Lord knows they're
one
hurting for
road.
storage space out there.
Yeah.
It wasn't designed very, well, it wasn't designed for storage of records as well as it should have been, let me say that. Matter of fact, there's still quite a bit of records, I think, up in the top of
That wooden one,
that wood building
there is.
that's leaning.
Yeah, there is.
Well, we're at the point now, I'm gonna, what's this committee wanna do? I mean, Tim's made you wanna make a
I'll
motion?
make a
Anybody wanna
motion, we get started, cause we dragged this stuff out way too long. We need to start taking action and getting things done, so I make a motion, we put the door in the building as quick as possible.
Tim Brown's made a motion. Anybody wanna second his motion?
We ain't gonna reuse the jail, and we all know that. We ain't gonna reuse it. It costs too much money.
Do I have a second? Anybody want to second Tim's motion? Don't want to.
Well, let the bids keep going up, and then we'll eventually put it in. Then we'll cost the county a lot of money, dragging this.
Well, I'm just trying to save the money.
Well, I am too, so we can drag this out for another 6 months, I guess, and let that building rot down.
Anybody else
About
want to make,
200
anybody else want to
thousand.
make a motion for an outside building or to,
Or options. I'm open to options. You know.
Well, I am too. Somebody
the-
say something.
I'll agree with Alan that if you do an outside building, you're gonna have to do a pass-through, cause you ain't gonna be able to back them trailers in off that. Once you take up the parking lot with the building, you ain't gonna be able to,
And it's gonna affect you guys because of your transports,
oh, yeah.
you know, which is why I think the door is the best option. And I mean, you know, but I'm not on this committee, so.
So what if we did the building and only did 4 doors? Cause you only need one going out, right? For the big ones.
In
You talk-
theory,
You've talked about some kind of jack that you can pump up and move them around. So that would work for the other 2, if need be.
because we're only putting one door in this one. If we do a door in the wall, yeah. I still think, the issue, would still be a pass-through, on the backside.
Yeah, I'm talking about just one door on the pass-through on the backside, cause you're doing 3 up front, right? If we did it from the roadside.
Well, if we did that, I'm not sure where we'd want the 3, honestly. Because you're gonna come in from the backside, and trying to swing that in and
You're gonna come in on,
get it placed with just one door in the front is not gonna be a very safe.
She's saying put 3 doors on the front and 1 door on the roadside.
is that Ramsey, right there beside it?
Right, yeah.
So you're talking about coming in off of Ramsey.
Yeah, just tiling that, it's already tiled, in 2 places. We're talking about probably tiling another 30, 40 feet and just covering it. Of course, all this would have to be put through the city as well.
And I don't know what the cost savings would be on that. That'd be the thing, you know.
Well, there's no cost savings.
No.
Yeah, there
to
won't
build
be
the
any
building.
savings, yeah. The
Yeah.
building's gonna cost a
Right.
minimum of $100,000+ to do it the way they wanna do it. So the question is, and I'm not on this committee, so I'm just throwing out, we're just talking.
Joey's,
Yes.
Joey?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question? I mean, what's the concern about the old jail? I mean, are we thinking at some point we're gonna spend $500,000 and redo it and put it back together?
Don't know.
Is that what I mean, wouldn't we be money ahead to spend that $500,000 out at the jail and build a new one?
Oh, 100%.
So, I mean, why wouldn't you give these people what they need for $50,000? I'm having a hard time following, if we're not gonna reuse it as a jail, we'd rather spend the money out at the jail, why not give them what they need to store their equipment?
From my point, if we build a building, they get that. How long is it gonna take to build the extra space at the jail?
What do you mean? I mean, that's 2 separate issues. You're
Yeah.
trying to spend twice the money to build a building that everybody's saying is not gonna feasibly work with traffic, when they could put a door in it. I don't understand the logic. I mean, the last thing I heard was we were worried about it being a jail again. And now we've determined it's never gonna be a jail again. So why wouldn't you just spend the $50,000 and put the door in, let them store their equipment, and not cost us $100,000 to build something that's not gonna physically work for traffic?
Makes too much sense to do it your way, the way you're saying.
I mean, it doesn't make sense why we're hung up on this vote.
I agree. You got something?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say, and this is, I'm only basing this off of information, I'm not trying to steer anything. The problem was, that I got from the last information is, in the case of an emergency tomorrow, and we needed to house some inmates somewhere, the annex is the only building that we have that the county owns, where we could even make that possible.
Does the morgue take that out of the equation, though?
That's the only, that was the,
No, not really, because you can shut that off.
everything can be secured.
On his end.
That's the only reason that I was being told that we cannot use
You have
the
to
annex.
Put all the stuff we took in out. I mean, it can't house somebody tomorrow.
Like
That's
you
what we're
said,
saying, that's what we're saying, that's kind of what we're saying is,
It's
that-
not entirely true, yes, it could, but
I,
Yeah.
I'm kind of seeing it like, you know, the 5 years from now, 10 years, are we still sitting on this vacant building, still talking about this when, you know, we're getting a half price deal, I see, for this door for 50,000, or we go out here and build a building for 100,000+. I see it, we're saving the county $50,000 off the top. Tim, you got a motion on that to approve the door?
I still make a motion to approve the door. It's the smartest thing to do. I can't see what the holdup is, because the jail ain't gonna be used. If we reuse it, like Joey said, it's gonna cost us $250,000 to get it set up. So spend the $250,000 out to jail, so it'll be right there at the jail, but that makes too much sense. But I'll still make a motion to put the door in.
I'll second.
Tim Brown makes a motion, Frank Watkins seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right. Moving No, Alan, you got anything else you know add to that?
No, sir, I do appreciate it. Like I said, we looked at every option that we could, to get those trailers under cover and still maintain the integrity of our suits and our equipment, and those
Yep.
were the only two options that we could come up with, so
Yeah,
we
we-
do appreciate you.
As a
guys
county, we just can't
working
let
with
that stuff sit out there and just rot,
Well, I
basically.
mean, you know, the whole time those trailers and stuff are sitting out there, you know, I mean, you got the weather and the sun and, you know, you got all of that stuff, and that $250,000 trailer alone has to be inside, I mean, or we're gonna lose it. And that's a valuable asset to have on this side of the region.
All right, we'll get those numbers and we'll get that. Frank will get the paperwork on that. We'll be sending that over to Budget and Finance
Okay.
for approval.
Yeah, well, so what'll have to be happening though is I'll have to get three new bids,
Okay.
and then I'll bring it back, and then you guys can
Have we
send-
got to do that through purchasing?
No, so I'll get the bids, as long as it's not over a certain amount. So I'll get the three bids, three quotes, and I'll bring them back here, and then basically you'll try to approve the quote
It's-
and send the money.
Cheapest bid was 56, that's over the bid amount, so it'll have to be it.
Yeah,
That
it's,
was the cheapest.
well, based on, materials and stuff, what they cost now, I mean, it could have went down, I mean, things change.
Could went down,
Uh,
could went up, never know.
Yeah, you just never know, so we'll look at that, as far as just getting an estimated cost. If it, like you said, if it is over 50, and then we'll have to send it out for bid, but we'll try
Okay.
to see if we can get under 50 and.
Can you
get
try
some
to get it
estimates.
pretty quick so we can set up a meeting, so we don't keep dragging this along? It's been dragged too long already.
Yeah, our next meeting will be scheduled for February 8th, but if you can get that in, we can do special call.
Yeah, we can do a
Rick,
special
if
call
there's
meeting.
anything I can do to help with the legwork on that.
So basically, we've already got 3 people that have looked at it and given us bids. Basically, all I need to do is, because it's been a year, I just need to go back with them and just say, hey, is still, is there any difference? Can we, what can we do? And I'm not even sure, I'm not 100% because it's been so long, but I want to say that we actually received a bid that was under 50. I think our highest bid was 55.
Right, I think that's right.
I believe we received a few bids under the 55, so like I said, I'll just go and talk to these companies, and they're companies that I work with all the time on other projects, and just see if their quote still stands to this day, or if they need to make a few adjustments, and then I'll bring them
I
back.
mean, the more money we can save, the better. I like it, so
Yeah.
the better.
Now, as far as how fast they can get to it, I mean, that's another story, but.
Okay, we'll be standing by and stay tuned. So our next meeting scheduled for February the 8th, unless Rick comes up with something, then we'll be back maybe in a couple of weeks. So that all being
Thank you
said,
guys for considering this.
thank you. Entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a motion with adjourn.
Tim Brown, second by Frank Watkins. All in favor?